What's up, guys? My name's Logan, and yesterday was the NBA trade deadline that ended at 3 o'clock yesterday, February 6th, 2020. It is February 7th, 2020, and I got to react to them. There's pretty much five trades that kind of went down yesterday, and they all kind of went within like 2 3 hours of each other, which was crazy. It was it was a boring deadline. Then the Capella trade happened, and then nothing happened on Wednesday, and then Thursday comes around, and at the last second, these trades come in, which really changes up the league tremendously. In my opinion, a lot of people think, no big deal. I think they do. We're going to start off with the least impactful trade. Is the Sixers received Glenn Robinson III and Alec Burks, and they gave the Warriors 3 second-round picks. Warriors just get picks. Those two guys aren't really doing much. Good perimeter shooting for the Sixers, I guess. Really improved the bench depth, which does not exist in Philadelphia. When I think of the starting five, you have Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Embiid. And then you have Matisse Thybulle, a rookie, and then Kalo Quinn and Mike Scott as your main bench guys. So now you get Alec Burks and Robinson, with added much needed perimeter shooting for that team. It's whatever. This trade's the least impactful of these. And then, going from that to this, the Heat received Andre Iguodala, Jay Crowder, Solomon Hill, and Gorgui Dieng. The Grizzlies received Dion Waiters and Justice Winslow, and the Timberwolves received James Johnson. Timberwolves, they traded for James Johnson because of money. They're taking on a bad contract. They're doing that right now with Evan Turner. I believe Evan Turner's on the Timberwolves, and they took this contract because it's over next year, so they could probably chase a free agent next year. That's what they did with Covington. The Grizzlies received Dion Waiters and Winslow. Waiters ain't going to do much. He had that panic attack with edibles. Don't do drugs, kids. And he's just underachieved, really. It's kind of disappointing to see how Waiters' career has turned out. It's just whatever. Justice Winslow to the Grizzlies. When Winslow is healthy, he is a solid young player. Let me repeat that. When Justice Winslow is healthy, he is a solid young player. The problem is, though, we don't really see him as a solid young player because he's hurt half the dang time. But this is a great addition to John Morant and Jaren Jackson core, because they don't really have anyone else. They have DeAnthony Melton as a backup point guard who's been playing pretty well this year, but even that, that's a backup, you're not a starter. So Justice Winslow, they needed wing players for the young, for rebuilding. The Grizzlies is surprisingly one of the best managed teams in basketball. So good for Memphis. But we gotta talk about Miami Heat. They received Iguodala, Jay Crowder, Solomon Hill, Gorgui Dieng. If you don't know who the heck is Solomon Hill, exactly, if you play 2K, you know him as the guy you take on to get that contract. He's paid $13 million a year to not play basketball. That's just great. I wish I could have a contract like that. I just have to show up to practice, get $13 million. Gorgui Dieng, a decent backup center, long-time Timberwolves player. Now he's on the Heat. Also, for the money, he has a big contract. It doesn't really work out well. And you got Jay Crowder, 3-and-D. 3-and-D off the bench. That's what the Heat are defining as. And then Andre Iguodala, who immediately signed a 2-year, $30 million extension with Miami. Great pickup for the Heat. Great spark plug defensively and offensively. Well, no, defensively. Iguodala's not that great on offense anymore. But anyway, Iguodala was a huge pickup for Miami to be that role-playing, veteran, championship DNA type of guy. Because the Miami, they're contenders this year. They really are contenders this year. And the Miami Heat, they almost pulled off a trade with Danilo Gallinari, which is insane because that would immediately help their team and be probably the second best odds to win the East, because Bucks are obviously the favorite. But I knew the Thunder, they probably asked for like Duncan Robinson, a first-round pick or something like that for Gallinari. So the Miami Heat, they have heavily improved on this trade. A plus. Grizzlies, I go B because Dion won't help you, and Winslow, you know, not much to lose. He lost a bad contract in Jay Crowder, but he wasn't doing much for you. Timberwolves, I don't know, C plus. He ain't gonna do nothing with James Johnson. He has a bad contract, so it's whatever. Next, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers for Andre Drummond, and the Pistons received Brandon Knight, John Henson, and a 2023 second round pick. Cavs B plus trade. I'd say it's a B plus trade because they don't lose. They don't lose anything. They lost those guys to have Andre Drummond for the second half of the season. If he gels with Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, great. You could re-sign him. If he doesn't gel, okay, don't offer him and let him walk. You lose nothing. The only thing you just gain cap space. And the Pistons, congratulations, Detroit. You are now Logan's least worst managed NBA franchise. You took it from the Knicks. Somehow, yes, the Knicks are not the worst managed team in the NBA. Jesus Christ, Detroit. I'm sounding like a Pistons fan, but they just make me so mad because they do this type of trade. What are they rebuilding to? What is their goal? I'm sorry. Derrick Rose, you didn't trade Derrick Rose, so now you're going to waste his life for the second half of the season. And I guarantee you the Pistons aren't going to trade Derrick Rose. And if they do, it'll be something like that, or even worse. Blake Griffin is stuck in Detroit with that terrible contract, and no one's going to take on. Like, what are they? Who are they rebuilding around? Sekou? Sekou can't be rebuilt around. He's way too young. He's the definition of a raw prospect. I think he's going to be a good player, but I don't think he's going to be a guy you should rebuild your rebuild around. Luke Kennard is great, but still, he's not the type of guy you build around. He's not going to be the superstar player that Detroit needs. So I have no idea why Pistons are doing this. Pistons fans, you should be upset. And it was the Cavs. The Cavs are so bad at trades, yet you let them finesse you. F trade for Detroit, because God almighty. Detroit. If they are a laughing stock of a team, they're a better managed. When you have the Knicks, the Wizards as a better managed team than your franchise, that really says something for you, Detroit. All right, moving on. And this trade is why the Knicks are not the worst, is because they actually had a great trade. The Knicks received Mo Harkless and the Clippers' first round pick this year. In exchange, they gave Marcus Morris to the Clippers, and the Wizards was also involved with this trade. They get Jerome Robinson, and they traded away Isaiah Thomas to the Clippers, but sadly, Thomas was waived immediately. For the Knicks, get the power forward situation out of the way. Harkless has 1 year left on his deal, if I'm correct. And you get a first-round pick. Good trade. You really don't need Marcus Morris at all. He didn't really fit. You finessed him from the Spurs, so the Spurs just doesn't get him. It's whatever. Wizards, Jerome Robinson, just get a young guy. Thomas wasn't doing much for you. Might as well get some sort of young talent out of him. So, a C minus. Just could have gotten Terrence Mann or Mfiondu. Just saying, former Knowles. Whatever. Clippers, you get Marcus Morris, Isaiah Thomas. Why you gotta do that to Isaiah? Come on, he deserves a ring. 5'9", he's dropping 28 points per game back when he was on Boston, and then Kyrie Irving screwed over his career, but we don't need to talk about that. And the Clippers received Marcus Morris, which is a huge upgrade to Mo Harkless. Gave him that once again that 3-and-D type of character with Kawhi and Paul George. So now the starting lineup for the Clippers is Pat Bev, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and then if it's Zubac. They need a three-point shooting center. I'm surprised, Zubac, he's young and all, but he does not have a three-point shot. And I'm watching the Clippers games, and they're playing, Zubac is at the top of the paint, or not paint, three-point arch, and the guy in the center is just all the way back halfway through the paint. Because Zubac has no game outside the paint. So I'm surprised the Clippers didn't trade Zubac to try to get a shooting center. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They're a great team. They still have that depth at the bench. So you know what? I'm not going to judge. And the last trade, the biggest trade of yesterday, The Timberwolves traded for D'Angelo Russell, Jacob Evans, and Amari Spellman to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, a 2021 top 3 protected first-round pick, and a 2021 second-round pick. I mean, D'Lo called it. He's 2/3 of the way there. If you don't know, there was this magazine, I forget what it's called, but D'Angelo Russell said, don't be surprised that you're going to see me, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Devin Booker on a basketball team. And 2/3 of the way there. And I would not be surprised after the season Devin Booker demands a trade out of Phoenix to Minnesota. But yeah, Timberwolves all of a sudden became just like a middling team to now they're going in the right direction. They got rid of Andrew Wiggins. This trade, honestly, the winner of this trade is Andrew Wiggins. He's out of that place of Minnesota where he's trying to be that scorer guy. Now he could go to the Warriors. The Warriors won this draft because they get a pick. They get a second-round pick as well, and they get Wiggins, who can bring back the Harrison Barnes role of when they went 73-9 and when they won the NBA Finals in 2015. Wiggins improves because he'll be in a limited role. He puts less stress on Clay and Steph because they no longer get double teamed because you have to cover Wiggins. The Timberwolves, you get D'Angelo Russell and Cat, best friends. There were picks 1 and 2 in the 2015 NBA draft. Both of their games fit extremely well together. And you also have Josh Okogie and Jarrett Culver, who can also be great pieces you could build around. The Timberwolves, man, they're in the right direction. I really enjoy watching Timberwolves, mostly because I love Cat. I like D'Angelo Russell. And you know me, Iowa, pretty big fans of the Timberwolves up there because the G League. So I've never hated the Timberwolves. So whatever, another great young dynamic duo. The Warriors, I think the Warriors are going to be phenomenal next year when you have Wiggins in a limited role. And those are those 5 trades that occurred yesterday that really has any kind of impact. And for me, I put them in order on how impactful they are within the league. First trade, the Sixers, 3-point depth. Okay. Heat, you get the championship mentality in there. Cavs, Drummond, because why not? Clippers, Marcus Morris, get that additional 3&D. The Knicks get a first-round pick. And then D'Lo, Andrew Wiggins swap pretty much. So yeah, those are the 5 trades. Those are my reactions. Those are my opinions, I'd say. And the NBA is looking much different now. I'm really enjoying the NBA this year. And I think, but we are missing, like, Brooklyn's just going to be way better. I'm more excited about next year than the end of this year. Because next year, there shouldn't be really that many changes in the league. Unless the Pelicans refuse to sign like Brandon Ingram, then that'll be a big change. But other than that, everyone's going to come back completely healthy. Hopefully. God forbid if there was any terrible injury. But if everyone comes back healthy, like Oladipo, it's weird to see the Pacers out Oladipo for half the year now. And then they come back, they get everyone back. So that's what I want to see next year. I just want to see all the teams, everyone healthy, game of the year. Especially like the NBA, they're missing the Warriors, man. The Western Conference could be much more solid. You got those 7 seeds, who are all great teams, and that 8 seeds fighting between the Grizzlies, Blazers, and Spurs, who are all underachieving this year besides the Grizzlies. They're overachieving. So yeah, this is gonna be an interesting second half of the year. I want to see what the Pistons do, how far they're gonna go down, and yeah, that's it for today, I guess. We'll have my reactions to the recruiting class for FSU probably coming out Sunday. Yeah, probably Sunday. I'd have time for that. The XFL starts. I think Sunday or Saturday. It starts this weekend. That's when Sunday at 2:00 on ABC. So that's something new. And then there's also this other video because they talked about college basketball. I do have to talk about FSU basketball, but there's another thing that's going on that no one is really talking about. So I kind of need to put attention on it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. And I'll talk to you guys later.